My ex cheated on me with the guy who claimed to be my best friend, and he stole and spent our savings on him. But karma is something you shouldn't joke about. This is my story, and I'm going to tell it exactly as my world fell apart. It was 6:43 p.m. on a random Thursday. I know the time because I glanced at the clock before opening the door to surprise my girlfriend of 4 years with something she'd always asked for. To be more spontaneous, romantic. I had flowers in one hand and a key in the other. We had been living together for 2 years, and I was humming a silly love song, feeling foolish but happy. I wanted to see her smile, walk in, kiss her, maybe dance in the kitchen like we used to do before work, rent, and problems pulled us apart. But everything changed the moment the door creaked open. She didn't hear me come in. She was in the living room, barefoot, hair tied up, half a glass of wine in her hand, laughing at something on her phone. It should have been a beautiful scene, except for the fact that she wasn't alone. There was a guy next to her, lounging on my couch, wearing my jacket. Or so I thought until I realized I'd never seen that piece before. And she was wearing his pants, curled up against him the same way she used to do with me every Sunday night for years. There was no doubt. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was pure and simple betrayal. Paralyzed, I watched as she leaned toward him and murmured, "He still has no idea." He laughed, and my heart stopped. I let the flowers fall to the floor with a pathetic whisper, like the last breath of something that was already dead. She turned around, panic written all over her face, opening her mouth as if to explain, but I didn't give her a chance. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just left. In that moment I understood. She wasn't sorry. She had just been caught. I sat in the car for an hour or two, not remembering how I got there. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned. White, my breathing short and shallow, as if my lungs were full of things I couldn't say. The worst part? I wasn't surprised. It had been building for months. The long nights at work, the sudden coldness, the way she flinched when I tried to touch her. I wanted to believe we were going through a rough patch, that she was stressed, that maybe I was being paranoid. Wrong. I was naive. I wish I could say that was the end, that I moved on, rebuilt myself like the hero of a movie. But that was only the beginning. The next day, my phone started ringing incessantly. Messages, calls, voicemails. First from her, then from mutual friends, and then from an unknown number. That's when I realized this hole was deeper than I imagined. I spent the night awake, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, reliving every conversation from the past 6 months, searching for signs, lies, subtle changes in tone. Nothing could have prepared me for what I discovered the following morning. The guy on the couch, he wasn't some random coworker or an old college friend. It was Ryan, my brother's best friend, the man I grew up with, who had been at every family dinner, whom I thanked in my speech at our engagement party the previous year. Ryan, whom I met when I was 10 years old. It all started with a message from my brother. "We need to talk. It's about Ryan and Julia." My stomach sank. He knew. He knew and didn't tell me. I called him immediately. He answered on the second ring. "Listen," he said, hesitantly. "I didn't know how to tell you. I thought maybe it was just a rumor." "What rumor?" I interrupted. A pause. Ryan admitted they had hooked up once, said it was a mistake, months ago. But the way he said it, I didn't buy it. He sounded smug, almost proud. I felt my hands tremble as I dropped the phone to the floor. Once? Sure, they looked way too comfortable that night, as if it wasn't the first time, but one of many. For how long had this been going on? How many times had she smiled at me with his kiss still fresh on her lips? I went into detective mode. I checked our shared iCloud accounts, something I'd never done before, never needed to. Now I needed answers. I found plane tickets to Miami, purchased 2 weeks earlier. That weekend, I was in Chicago for work. I FaceTimed her before bed, and she said she was at home watching Netflix. Turns out Netflix was actually an Airbnb by the beach, with Ryan. I don't remember how I survived the next day. I just walked into my manager's office and said, "I need to leave." No explanations. Straight to the apartment. Ours, now mine. She was there, sitting on the kitchen counter, as if nothing had happened. "Can we talk?" she asked. I ignored her and started packing her things into garbage bags. "You don't understand," she pleaded. I stopped, looked directly into her eyes. "I understand. I understand everything now." She started crying, the ugly kind, with a red nose and sobs. She was unrecognizable, as if she were someone else. I watched her from the outside as if my body and mind were separate. For the first time in 4 years, I didn't feel love or pain. I felt nothing. "You were supposed to be different," she whispered. "You were supposed to fight for us." I laughed. "Fight against who? You? Ryan?" She fell silent because she knew. She knew there was no going back. And then came rock bottom. The doorbell rang. I opened the door, and there was Ryan, wearing a ridiculous leather jacket, acting as if it were a casual visit. "We need to talk," he said calmly, as if he weren't the personification of a betrayal bomb. I didn't hit him. Oh, how I wanted to, but I smiled. "Yes, let's talk." Because I had a plan. I let him in. Ryan walked past me as if the place still belonged to him, as if he hadn't been caught on the couch the night before. He sat down again, in the same spot where I'd seen them together. His audacity was impressive. "I know how this looks," he began, with the nerve to smile. But it wasn't planned. It just happened. She needed someone. I was there. I stared at him in silence, letting him fill the space with his own lies. Then I said just one word. "Miami." His smile faltered. "You got me." I leaned against the wall and started listing facts as if it were a grocery list. The Airbnb, the matching plane tickets, the photo she posted alone, but forgot the reflection in the window. Even the Venmo payment for the Uber to the airport, details he thought were insignificant but gave me everything I needed. His eyes widened for a second, and I smiled internally. He probably would have made up more lies, but I interrupted him. "I don't care about your excuses. You didn't just sleep with my girlfriend. You mocked it, bragged to my brother. You broke the code." He stood up quickly. "Come on, man, don't be dramatic." I laughed this time, a genuine laugh. "You think this is drama?" I walked over to my desk, grabbed a folder, and threw it in front of him. Inside were screenshots, printouts, audio recordings. I had spent the entire night investigating Ryan's life because here's the truth. Ryan didn't just screw me over. He also screwed over a lot of other people. And I had proof. Ryan worked as a recruiter at a tech company, but in his free time, he pretended to be a career coach, charging hundreds of dollars from desperate young people for job referrals he never delivered. One of those young people was the cousin of a friend of mine, and she had emails, receipts, and even a Zoom recording where he promised a job for $400. All I needed to do was send that to HR at his company. Ryan's face went pale. "You're bluffing." "Try me," I whispered. He lunged for the folder, but I blocked his way. "Touch anything in this apartment again, and you'll not only get fired but also arrested." That shut him up. He stood there, breathing heavily, fists clenched, looking around as if searching for a magical exit. There was none. "Get out," I ordered. He didn't move, so I opened the door. "You want her? You can have her. But your job, your reputation, that's mine now." He left without saying a word, like a kicked dog. And I didn't feel guilty, not one bit, because in that moment, I knew he was about to lose everything. And Julia? She was next. After Ryan left, I thought I had finally hit rock bottom. I was wrong. About an hour later, I got a notification on my phone. A $2,000 withdrawal from the bank. I froze. It was our joint account, the one we opened when we started living together, the one I had been feeding with money for our future. She processed the withdrawal an hour after I caught her cheating. She didn't even wait a day. I called her immediately. She didn't answer. I sent a text. No reply. So I did the only thing left. I drove to her office. She worked at a boutique marketing agency, all artsy style, plants everywhere, people pretending to be important in cardigans. I walked in calm on the outside, boiling on the inside. The receptionist looked at me. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to see Julia," I replied. "She took something that doesn't belong to her." The girl blinked. "Actually, she called in sick today." Of course she did. I left without saying a word, sat in my car, and stared at the dashboard. I felt that pressure in my chest again. The kind that comes when you realize you've not only been deceived but used and manipulated for years. And now she was trying to walk away clean. But Julia didn't know one thing. I don't lose. Quietly, I went home and started digging. Bank statements, email receipts, Amazon orders. And then it hit me. This wasn't an isolated incident. She had been siphoning money little by little for months. Small withdrawals, minimal charges, Venmo transfers labeled as groceries, sent to names I didn't recognize. I dug deeper, and the puzzle pieces came together. One of those names belonged to the manager of a downtown Los Angeles hotel. I called, pretending to confirm a reservation for Julia. He checked the system. She had booked that suite twice, both times on weekends when I was traveling for work. While I was working hard to climb the career ladder, she was using my money to live a fantasy with Ryan. I sat there, surrounded by statements and screenshots, thinking, she didn't just betray me, she robbed me. And now it was time to take back what was mine. The first thing I did was call the bank and freeze the account. Then I called a lawyer friend, a discreet genius and exactly the kind of person you want on your side when everything goes wrong. I told her everything. She didn't hesitate. "Kick her out of the apartment today. If your name is on the lease, you have rights." I went home, changed the locks, packed up the rest of her things, and left a note taped to the door. "Your access has been revoked. The bank has been notified. Try anything else, and I'll take legal action." That night, she finally called. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice trembled. "You changed the locks? Are you crazy? Can we talk? I needed that money for something important. It wasn't intentional. Please, let's talk." "No, Julia. We're past talking. We're past everything. Because now I don't just want to end this. I want consequences." The next day, my hands finally stopped shaking, though my mind was still racing. I couldn't stop thinking about how calm she sounded in that voicemail, as if she hadn't destroyed 4 years of my life, as if I were the villain. But that's what narcissists do. They destroy you, and then ask why you're bleeding. Well, I wasn't going to play that game anymore. Not anymore. I started writing a message. Not to her, but to everyone. Mutual friends, co-workers, even her family. Because guess what? She made me look like the bad guy for months, planting small seeds of doubt. He's distant. He doesn't pay attention to me. I think he might be seeing someone else. Meanwhile, she was using my card for hotel rooms and romantic getaways with Ryan. Enough. I posted something on Instagram stories, a screenshot of the bank withdrawal with the caption, "When your 4-year girlfriend cheats on you with your brother's best friend and steals your savings account." I didn't tag anyone. I didn't need to. People talk. People share. In 10 minutes, my phone exploded like a Christmas tree. The reactions were mixed, some shocked, others silent. But the best one came from Jess, a coworker of Julia's. "Oh my God, I knew something was off. She lied about the vacation, said she was visiting her grandma in Oregon." I replied, "I'm pretty sure her grandma doesn't have a rooftop pool in Miami." Another message came, this time from her sister. "I'm so sorry. She told us you were controlling. I can't believe this. If you need support, count on me." That message hit me like a punch in the gut, positive this time. Someone finally saw me. But nothing topped what happened that afternoon. I received a direct message from an anonymous account. No name, no bio. Just one sentence. "You're not the only one she did this to." My blood ran cold. We exchanged messages. I found out she was seeing another guy. Not Ryan, not me. A third one. She met him at the gym, told him she was single. They had been meeting up for 5 months. I asked for proof. He sent photos, one of them at the dog park, the same one where Julia and I went every Saturday. Another of her in his kitchen, wearing my jacket. I stared at that last photo for a long time. I wasn't angry anymore. Just empty, as if something inside me had finally gone out. But that emptiness brought clarity. This wasn't a girl who made a mistake. It was a pattern. It was who she was, and if she wanted to play with people's lives, she picked the wrong guy. I sent her one last message, simple. By the time you read this, everyone will know the truth. You can't rewrite this story. Then, I blocked her on everything. Phone, email, social media, Spotify. If she could send smoke signals, I would have blocked that too. The consequences came quickly. Her sister messaged me later. She's desperate. Called my mom crying, saying she's being harassed. No one believes her anymore. Jess, the coworker, sent another message. She got suspended. Clients complained. HR is investigating. This could get serious. I replied, good, because I wasn't trying to ruin her life. She did that herself. I just made sure she couldn't lie her way out of it. For a moment, I thought Ryan would get away unscathed. Yes, I threatened him. Yes, I handed over the evidence. But part of me feared he'd charm his way out like he always did. He was that guy. The charming, manipulative one. The master of twisting stories to seem innocent. But what he didn't realize was that he screwed, over more than just me. He deceived other people. People who don't just get mad, they sue. 3 days after my post, I got a message from my friend's cousin, the girl Ryan scammed with his coaching service. He blocked me on everything, but guess what? I sent all your screenshots to his company's HR. They replied, they're investigating now. I smiled. It's happening. The next morning, I checked LinkedIn. His profile was gone. That night, I received another anonymous message. Ryan was called into a meeting today. Word is, he's suspended. They're auditing his clients. He's freaking out. It was extremely satisfying watching someone self-destruct without lifting a finger. I didn't need to scream, threaten. All I did was shine a light on the shadows. The rats did the rest. That night, I went out for the first time in weeks. Just me and some real friends. No silent phone drama, no pretending everything was fine while being stabbed in the back. Just peace. And then, as if life wanted to give me an extra prize, I got a message from someone unexpected. Brian, Ryan's coworker. Saw your story. Probably shouldn't say this, but thanks. That guy was a nightmare for months. You did everyone here a favor. I read that message 5 times. Because it hit me. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't bitter, exaggerating, or being dramatic. I simply stopped staying quiet. And when people stop staying quiet, the truth makes noise. But the best was yet to come. Days later, I got a voicemail from a blocked number. Almost didn't listen, but curiosity won. As soon as I pressed play, I heard Ryan's voice. Desperate. Nothing like the calm, confident tone I knew. Look, I know we're not okay, but can we talk? Just 5 minutes? I think I'm in serious trouble. I'll probably get fired and Julia's losing it. She says you ruined everything, but I didn't mean for it to go this far. I hit delete before he even finished. Because here's the truth. Ryan didn't ruin his own life. I just turned on the lights. Finally, I started feeling better. Not completely healed, but lighter, as if I could breathe without choking on betrayal. The messages stopped. The voicemails disappeared. Ryan was suspended. Julia was silent. It was peaceful. Too peaceful. Then, that Saturday afternoon, I heard 3 soft knocks on the door. Not the doorbell, not loud bangs, just 3 gentle taps. My gut twisted instantly. I knew. I opened the door, and there she was, Julia, standing on my doorstep as if nothing had happened, wearing a jacket that wasn't mine, hair tied up, just like she used to do when we made pancakes on Sundays. She had a rehearsed expression on her face, as if she'd practiced in the mirror. She looked at me and said, almost too softly, "Can we talk?" I stepped out, closed the door behind me, and crossed my arms. "Why are you here?" She hesitated, looked down at her shoes. Things got complicated. I laughed, a dry laugh. Complicated? After I exposed you? She flinched, but then her eyes narrowed. You didn't have to make it public. Ah, there it was. No guilt, no remorse, just damage control. I sighed. Let me guess. Your job's at risk. Ryan dumped you. Your sister stopped talking to you, and now you're here to play the victim. She blinked rapidly, her voice trembling. You don't understand. Everything spiraled out of control. I stared at her. You were in control. You lied, stole, cheated repeatedly. She tried to argue. I was afraid of commitment. I didn't respond, because we both knew the truth. It wasn't fear. It was greed. Then she did something I didn't expect. She pulled a folded piece of paper from her bag, neat, organized. It's a payment plan, she said. For the money. I'll pay it all back, I promise. I didn't even glance at the paper, because I understood what this meant. She wasn't here to close chapters or apologize. She was here to fix her image, to try rewriting the narrative. Look, I offered to pay it back. I tried to fix things. He wouldn't listen. I smiled coldly. You know what I want? She blinked, hope flickering in her eyes. I tore the paper in half, right in front of her. Her face changed, the manufactured sadness replaced by sharp anger. You're unbelievable, she hissed. Acting like you've never made a mistake. I leaned closer. I've never made your mistakes. She opened her mouth to respond, but I was done. I turned, opened the door, and said the last words I'd ever say to her. Tell Ryan I said hi. I slammed the door in her face. Forever. She stood there for a while. I watched through the peephole. First, she just stood still. Then, she kicked the door hard and left. No more tears, no more sweet voices. Just silence. Exactly what I wanted. 6 months passed since that day. Since I locked the door forever on that chapter of my life. Since I deleted the last voicemail. Since I chose peace over chaos. And for the first time, I truly wanted it. Without checking her social media. Without scrolling hatefully through feeds at night. Without bitter monologues to friends. Just healing. Real, boring, slow. I learned that closure doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with silence. And life moved on. I got a promotion at work, started running again, even joined a book club. Every now and then, I thought about them. Julia, Ryan, my brother. But not with anger. With distance. Like old names carved into a tree you left behind. Faded. Forgotten. Irrelevant. Until one rainy Thursday, when I walked into a coffee shop during lunch and saw her. She was sitting alone at a corner table, hood up, head down, nervously fiddling with a straw. The same tic she had when lying. I almost didn't recognize her. She looked smaller, not physically, but as if someone had sucked the vitality out of her and replaced it with static. I could have turned around, could have walked away. But I didn't. I ordered my drink, stayed to the side, and waited. And then, as if it were some cruel cosmic joke, our eyes met. She froze. I just nodded. No smile, no friendly gesture, just acknowledgement. She looked like she wanted to say something, but I didn't give her a chance. I grabbed my drink, turned, and left. No final words, no dramatic scenes, just the sound of rain behind me. And that was the real end. Not revenge, not karma, not drama. Just a moment where she realized I was fine. And she wasn't. A week later, I got a message from her sister. I just wanted you to know she's different now, quieter. She lost a lot. Keeps saying she wishes she'd handled things differently. I stared at the message for a while. Then I typed, I hope she finds peace, just not through me. This story taught me that sometimes love is like a poorly divided pizza. You think everything's fine until you realize someone ate all the pepperoni slices and still blamed you for ruining the night. In the end, I discovered it wasn't me with trust issues. It was her who needed a manual on how to be human. Who would have thought my girlfriend and my brother's best friend were experts in betrayal? I just wanted to be romantic, but I ended up starring in my own cheap Netflix drama. Now, when I think about how she tried to twist her betrayal into a narrative where I was the villain, I almost laugh out loud. Actually, I do laugh. It's amazing how people can twist reality to look like victims, as if stealing money was just a financial oversight. If I had talent for writing scripts, I'd make a fortune selling this story, but I think I've already gained enough by moving past them, and without needing to release a bestseller. Now, when I see that ex-girlfriend in the corner of a coffee shop, it feels like I finally understand life's secret. Revenge isn't about shouting or fighting. It's about being okay while others struggle to stay relevant. They lost friends, reputations, and even jobs, while I gained promotions, hobbies, and a book club. Who needs chaos when you can have peace? And maybe some decent brownies? Now I really want to know your opinion in the comments below. And here on the channel, there are more stories waiting to surprise you. See you there.